Hey, what's up, everybody? You can see the title up there. It says fans debating on how Sally's redesign will come about. Yep, fans, it might say still debating, but it basically probably say debating, but yeah, fans are still debating how this redesign will happen in the comics in the next year or so. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, again? People are still debating, even though what we saw was nothing but a rough draft, maybe, a temporary rough draft of what it's supposed to look like or proposed to look like, according to Ian Flynn, and even Paul Kaminsky's confirmed it. Yeah, they're still concerned. Yeah, even though it's a rough draft, as you put it, as I've put it, you've put it, Ian and Paul and anybody else has put it. Fans are still debating. Now, you might ask, why? Well, it's because of the way the design is. You see, there's many aspects about this design that fans kind of feel match up and don't match up with the current Mecha Sally weaponization design. Basically, what some are talking about is like the closed vest that she's keeping, the black T-shirt underneath, the black shorts, the hair design, the boots, and believe it or not, the cheek fuzz. The fur on her cheeks. So, and a lot of people wonder why that's so important. Some of those are so important. Why the comparison? Well, here's the thing. Here's the reason why people do such a comparison to it, if you will. It's because they look at, you see, the people that feel that the new design is going to come out of the Mecha design, when they look at the Mecha design, the weaponization design, if you will, they say to themselves that they basically try to point out, well, not say to themselves, but they basically try to point out to people certain aspects of the design, basically by saying, yeah, it is a rough draft, and yeah, you're right. We may have to wait until it actually happens to see how it comes about. But right now, what they're doing is they're saying, but if it comes about the way we think it will come about, that we think it will come about, then here's how it's going to come about. Here's how this outfit is going to come from being, is going to be, or it's basically saying this is how this outfit is going to basically show that it was once the weaponized mecha suit. Here's how it's going to show that. And basically they'll go like, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that, blah, blah, blah. Now I know it sounded like it didn't make sense there, but the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people are trying to point out to other fans out there that look at it from a different perspective, that when you look at certain aspects of the weaponization mecha design, as I was trying to say, that if you look at the boots, there's maybe a similarity there. You look at her hands, that might give you an idea of where the gloves come from. You look at maybe the chest area, and you might see a little black maybe, that's where the t-shirt could come from. And so on and so forth. But then again, there are those out there that kind of counter that, and they say, look, you don't know that for sure. You don't know if that's how it's going to come about. You see what I'm saying? You don't know if that's how it's going to come about. Because if it comes about that way, then yeah, we'll admit you're right. But if it doesn't come about that way, then you're going to have to admit you're wrong. You see, a lot of fans out there counter those that feel the new outfit's going to come from the mecha design, while others feel it'll come a different way. Believe it or not, I look at it from both sides. I mean, I can totally understand when you look at the weaponization mecha design for Sally right now, that it could come about from being from the mecha design, the modifications, and the weaponization. I get that. But I can also understand from the other side when they say, you don't know that for sure. You know, like, you don't know that for sure. You don't know how it's going to come about. Which is totally true. We don't know how it will come about. I mean, it might totally surprise us how it comes about, but we don't know. You know, for example, I've actually mentioned something like, and I even said this in a previous video, and I think I put this in text. I also did this a little bit of a text version of it. I said something along the line. I said basically, what if she decides to change out of what remains of her original outfit? Like, okay, let's say she gets restored, but all that's left is, like I say, a damaged, you know, mecha version of her, a damaged version of her mecha suit, or mecha design, or let's say it's just her back to normal, and it's nothing but her vest is totally torn up and everything, just ripped to shreds. And her hair's kind of messed up and everything, and the boots are kind of destroyed. Basically, that would give her a reason as to why she would change outfits. You know, because think about it. Just because she's modified and weaponized doesn't mean she won't be restored and the original design won't be under there. It's like one person pointed out, and if I can find them on here, I will. But basically they said, and I said this in the other video, how do you know he modified and weaponized her? How do you not know he probably just put stuff over her original design? Which again would play into the whole scenario that I'm talking about. I mean, what if she ends up, you know, just, you know, when she's restored, what if she ends up having, you know, her hair totally messed up and her vest ripped to shreds almost, and her boots almost similar? What if it's decided that, okay, she needs to either get another vest, which apparently is not an option. So what happens? Well, of course, the vest, if you look from a continuity standpoint, the vest came from Juliana, her mentor, her teacher. So who's to say that if she's restored and the vest is totally ripped to shreds, that she won't have to toss it out or just put it to the side because she'll have to repair it. And next thing you know, she'll have to have something new on. She'll have to put on a new outfit. Just saying. And again, that plays into what I'm talking about. That plays into what, not me, but that plays into what somebody else, I think it was Red Author at the Fans United for Sat AM, was talking about. If I can find that page again. Again, if I can find that page again. But like I'm saying, we don't really know how it's going to happen. But if it happens to the point that she decides to change outfits, again, it would only have to be because maybe the other outfit got damaged, her vest got ripped to shreds or something like that, or she decides to take on a more action girl approach and needs a look to go with it. Hold on a second. I'm sorry I'm silent there for a minute, folks. I'm trying to look here. And I know some of you might complain about that. So a lot of people are talking about it, believe me. There's a lot of people that are talking about it, but the point that this person and was trying to make is we don't know for sure whether or not he totally did something to her that's going to result in an outfit design right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how it's going to come about, and that's what a lot of people are trying to tell these other big percentage of fans, if you will, this big percentage of fans, if you will, that believe the outfit's going to come from the weaponized mecha suit. That's what they're trying to tell them about. That's what they're trying to say. You know, they're trying to say, look, you don't know if it's going to come from that area. You don't know that. And honestly, they do have a point. We don't know. Nobody does. They don't know, we don't. You know? And I think I found it somewhere. But again, you know, one person, like I said, whether it was Red Arthur or Yoga Tiki, I don't know. Okay, it was Red Arthur. This is what Red Arthur, again, this is what he said. They said, and I quote, and I mentioned this in the other video, here's something I'd like to argue real quick. This is Red Arthur, and I quote, Red Arthur. Robotnik, Eggman, did weaponize Sally, yes, but it never said anywhere that he changed her. Her weapons could all be built over her original body. And don't say he can't, because if in one issue, Shadow can debate using what looks like a cheap knockoff of a Mega Buster without being robotic, Robotnik can always build weapons over Sally's body without remodeling her. And that is true. He could do that. He could do that, and that's what people are trying to point out. And that, again, plays into what I was talking about. If she gets de-roboticized when it happens, who's to say, you know, she's not going to have her when she's de-roboticized, that her vest, that she's restored to the way she was, but her vest and her boots are totally history, are basically totally wrecked beyond repair, and maybe her hair's messed up a little bit. Who's to say that won't be the reason? You know what I'm trying to say? Who's to say that won't be the reason? Now, as far as, like, say, the cheek fuzz, though, I can understand when people are coming with that. I mean, I even mentioned to Laser X5, you know, you want to talk about the cheek fuzz missing, and whether it's missing or not when she's restored, maybe it's because of the blowtorch deal. Maybe, you know, he used the blowtorch to take the cheek fuzz off, if you will, and place those little bolts there in its place. But didn't we see those bolts when she was roboticized? I'm just saying. When she was first roboticized, I'm just saying. But I'll be back in a second, folks.